I am a professional manager who just happens to be in the business of banking. So I've spent my whole career developing an expertise in managing people, functions, processes, and hopefully that brings itself out in the community bank. The key to a community bank is being involved in the community. And everyone, at every level of a company, we're a small company, we're a small business. With the combination, we will be 6 branches and we'll have 52 employees. That's a small business. In a community that needs a bank to support what's happening in the community, small business growth, customers being able to buy homes, finance whatever needs they have, from college expenses to just the normal day-to-day living. It was a risky proposition for someone like me to come from, the Northern Virginia, D.C. market, strong economy, even during a recession, strong economy. But the last several years of my career, I was involved in turnarounds. And so I like the challenge of coming in and helping a company and a group of people and a community resolve whatever issues they have and to right itself and be successful. And so over the 5-year period, I had the opportunity. It took a little bit longer than I thought it would, primarily because of the economy, but also because, it's not easy to change, and change is a big word. Change is a difficult word for most individuals, companies, governments, you name it. So to make a change, and we made a sea change here, to be successful and to put ourselves on the right footing, and now to acquire another bank in a contiguous county, that's exciting. This building is 15 miles from the headquarters of the former Easton Bank and Trust. Close proximity. We don't have any branches in Talbot County, and we didn't. Easton didn't have any branches here. So it was a natural fit. And then really, to me, the important part of the merger, my relationship with Mike Menzies, who passed away, super guy. But most people don't realize that Mike and I both graduated from Randolph-Macon College. Oh. So when I first moved here, Mike called and said, "Welcome," and we had a great conversation. We just started a super nice relationship from that point. And Mike was such a wonderful man, just rock solid citizen. Reminded me a lot of my father. Just kind of involved in a variety of things, in my family, my mother. So that started a great conversation. And then I got to know Dr. Hill, David Hill, who's now on our board. And and he's entrepreneurial, and I had the same spirit. So while I'm a banker, and everyone thinks that bankers, are creative or innovative, I absolutely disagree. And I think that you can be under the right circumstances. Certainly there's some limitations with our regulations and our oversight, but I think we're going to break away from that. I think our associations in the banking world are fighting to change the tone relative to community banks.
What does that mean, change the tone?
Well, I think that when the Great Recession occurred, everything you heard was banks, banks, banks. Somehow it caused everything. And I think the important part we should have made, somehow changed the political environment to say, hey, that's Wall Street. That wasn't the banks on Main Street, which is a big, big issue because all these regulations have trickled down to Main Street, which has made it harder for us to deliver services. It's much more expensive.
What's an example of that?
Dodd-Frank, 2,500 pages of law that still hasn't delivered all the regulations associated with us doing business. So I think this year alone, there have been 50 new regulations pushed down on community banks. Just do the reading. And so we spend a lot of our resources just absorbing and adapting. It's crazy, but we do it. Yeah. And we still deliver, products and services to our clients. The benefits, banking locally. We still make all our decisions are local.
Yeah.
People can call me and say, if you have my card, it has my direct number, it has my mobile number. So that's the difference you get with us versus a large entity. The difference is always the people. Jim Collins said it in his great book. It's the who, it's not the what. The who, get it done. Now we have to put the who in the right position. And so what we've done is we have a very sophisticated but quick ability to underwrite credit. And so we don't have meandering yeses or nos. And that's the big difference. So I grew up in financial services where speed was everything. And if you weren't quick with your decision-making process, well-informed decision-making process, you didn't get the opportunity to keep the customer or grab a new customer. So we're able to move very quickly, and that's a real advantage in most markets.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our advantage in our people, and we understand the business. So we go out of our way to make sure we deliver decisions in a speedy method.
Yeah.
We believe there's a lot of momentum. You think about Cambridge, and first thing you say is, why wasn't there momentum? The waterfront here is incredible. The people are incredible. So I see momentum building here on a daily basis, from the Main Street group to Patrick. We have other restaurants opening here in the near future. You have RAR. So there's a great foodie scene here, but there's also other elements that folks just, Blackwater National Refuge is right down the street. It's amazing. It's amazing if you just take the time to just go out there and absorb it. It's fascinating. So the county has a lot to offer, and the city does too. So I do feel a real momentum, and hopefully we're a big supporter of that. Every weekend there's something going on here, Friday and Saturday night, that blows me away, the enthusiasm by the citizens. I mean, there's only 14,000 residents in Cambridge. There's 32,000 in the whole county. It's not a large population base, but what goes on here is incredible, I believe.
Yeah.
We have a vision of being $1 billion as an institution. And that gives us size and the ability to do things and kind of absorb the expenses related to the regulatory environment to creating a lasting bank. I think that when you look at the banking environment in general, and you look at how many financial institutions there are just in the Delmarva Peninsula, the world, it's hard to be a bank and stay the same size. There has to be growth, and it has to be fairly significant growth, because the ability to make money you're getting crushed on the margins, and that's the hard part.
Yeah.
The other part when you look at financial institutions is you got to look at, do they have succession planning? Who have they trained to take over as the next leadership? Ages of their board.
Yeah.
So as you're aging, what's the game plan? And the regulatory environment is focused on that very keenly. They want to know, who do you have in place that can run a bank?
Yeah.
And what's your succession plan for your board members?
Yeah.
And who you bringing in? With size, you create a little more, you have momentum, you can attract talent. And the interesting thing is the big banks used to be training grounds. You go work in a big bank, you go to community bank, but big banks don't do it like that anymore. They're not, they silo train.
Okay.
So they don't have these management training programs. That's how I got into banking, was through a management training program with First Virginia Banks, Inc. And spent my first 19 years in banking at one company.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the longest stint other than First Virginia for me. Banking changed, but a lot of business, look at any industry, if you don't grow, what happens?
It's incredible.
If you don't grow and you're standing still, everybody's going around you.
Yeah.
And eventually you're not relevant.
Yeah.
And so our whole philosophy is, We want to be relevant. We want to change with the times. We want to be a little ahead in terms of technology, not the bleeding edge, the cutting edge. So we've done that. You know, we have the first in mobile deposit for a community bank on the Delmarva Peninsula. So we want to stay ahead of that. You can open an account online and fund it. We're the only community bank that does that. So we feel like that we've got the right pieces in place, and so we just want to grow. So I do think that that can occur, and I think that over time that'll happen. So it's really exciting. We're just in an exciting space.
Yeah.